Holiday season is here, and some social media campaigns are urging Americans to support Black-owned businesses. The call to action comes in the wake of a devastating and disproportionate economic impact of the coronavirus on communities of color. Now, to speak more about this, I want to bring in CBS Money Watch reporter Christopher Brooks. Now, he recently wrote how to shop at Black-owned businesses over the holidays on CBSNews.com. Thank you so much for being with us. Now, your article, it focuses on Black-owned businesses in Chicago, but can we take a few steps back and give us the context on the nationwide push to support Black-owned businesses?
Absolutely, Paula. Well, we've seen over the last few months that small businesses across all ethnic races actually have just been decimated by this pandemic. But Black businesses in particular have been hit really hard. As of April, there were 440,000 small Black business owners that have completely closed for good and won't be coming back. And there's experts who think even more will close after that. And that's what makes it particularly critical that people support Black businesses this year.
Now, a lot of Americans right now are hoping for additional COVID economic relief. But when it came to the first few waves of relief, let's talk about payment protection loans. Many Black and minority-owned businesses were not able to get that lifeline to sustain them. And why was that?
Well, there's a couple reasons for that, actually. A vast majority of Black-owned businesses are what we call sole proprietorships. That means they are the only employee of that company. They're the owner and operator and HR department and the accountant and everything. And the PPP program was specifically designed for companies that had staffs and needed to use that money to continue issuing paychecks to those staff. So a lot of those companies, those Black-owned companies, didn't get it for that reason. The second reason was a lot of that money was issued through banks. And Black-owned businesses have historically not had close relationships with lenders. So when it was time to apply for those loans, they didn't have a bank to go to push that paperwork through. So there's a myriad of reasons, but ultimately, like you said, a lot of Black-owned businesses were completely shut out of the PPP.
And if you look at who the president was surrounded by when they were designing a lot of those programs, even his economic council, it was overwhelmingly extraordinarily wealthy white men. I remember asking the White House why there wasn't a more diverse array of types of businesses represented, sexes, races, and I was actually mocked for asking them that question. Now, you've been covering Black-owned businesses very closely since the pandemic started. What has surprised you the most, and what strikes you about this new push to go and support these business owners?
What surprised me the most, really, is just how close to the knife's edge a lot of these businesses are. I've talked to individual business owners in North Carolina, in Texas, in Florida, Indiana. They're just like your average working American. They're literally one paycheck away from their business closing. And I don't know, for some reason, I thought they all had like a few months of cash stockpiled away for a hard time. No, they need every customer every month that they can get to keep the doors open. So that sort of surprised me. And then as we look forward into this push for Black-owned businesses, it's interesting to note that this drive has kind of been in existence for a while, but it sort of gained steam after the George Floyd protests in Minnesota. That really gave it rocket fuel. And everyone on social media is posting products with the hashtag Buy Black or Support Black. And that's been really interesting to watch how everyone, whether you're in Oregon or Texas or Florida, try to support Black businesses is really taking off.
Well, this is excellent reporting, Christopher. Thank you so much for joining us. And you can read this article and more on our website, CBSNews.com.